Alright, so I've had my hands on Cold War for, a month and a half now. There's a lot to talk about. Right, so before I start talking about Cold War, I need to talk about previous Black Ops games because that's really important to this analysis. It'll really help you guys understand why Cold War was so important. So even if you don't play video games, you've probably heard of the Call of Duty series, It's super infamous for its, really fast-paced arcade shooting and its over-the-top action scenes and all that. I'm talking about the best Call of Duties of all time. People usually bring up Black Ops 2, sometimes Modern Warfare, but Black Ops 2 is always in discussion. You might think, why is Black Ops 2 important to analysis of Black Ops Cold War, a game that's released in 2020? Black Ops 2 was released in 2012. And the reason is, after Black Ops 3, Call of Duty starts to decline. The player base really starts to decline by a lot. Nobody was playing Call of Duty anymore. And Black Ops 1 and 2 were so good. Everything about the game, the story, the multiplayer, the zombies, everything was amazing. The story had memorable, iconic characters and scenes. Woods, Mason, Hudson, all of these people, they all have personalities. You can remember them. You can remember what they did, who they were, what they added to the story. The multiplayer was so fun. Gunplay was amazing, satisfying. Everything was relatively balanced. You could choose one gun and rock with it and level it up and just build your own class from there. You had super iconic weapons like the DSR, the PW, the A94, just super iconic weapons. You had really iconic maps like Nuketown and Hijack. The game just had an identity for itself. Along with the great multiplayer and campaign, you had the zombies mode. Gave us some of the best maps we've ever seen. Transit was pretty trash, but it's still really iconic, and that's the point I'm trying to make. Whether you like Black Ops 2 or not, you can't deny that it was iconic and memorable and really made an impact in the gaming community. And I know I've been sitting here and sucking Black Ops 2 dick for the past 2 minutes, but Black Ops 1 was even greater in my opinion. So I'm not even gonna bother going through the entire list of why it's better. And after a couple years of bad Call of Duty games like Ghost and Advanced Warfare, Treyarch was back at it and they made Black Ops 3, which was another masterpiece. This time it was on the next gen console, so the Xbox One and the PS4, and it looked amazing for the time. It was easily the best looking Call of Duty. There was no competition. The player was great. The zombies was the best Call of Duty zombies we've ever had so far. And the only weak link in Black Ops 3 was the campaign. The campaign was pretty ass, I'm not gonna lie. Lots of the older Call of Duty fans didn't really fuck with the advanced, movement and stuff, but a lot of the newer Call of Duty fans did, and they really liked how fluid Black Ops 3 felt. Black Ops 3 felt so good to move, to shoot. I don't really have time to sit down and talk about, Black Ops 1, 2, and 3 individually, but all you guys need to know is that Black Ops 3 was the last great Call of Duty game at the time. After Black Ops 3, we got Infinite Warfare and some other games, and personally, I didn't mind them. I thought they were okay, but other people really hated them. Tons of people were giving up on the Call of Duty series, especially because of all the microtransactions. That's another thing BO3 got a lot of hate for. Even though people did buy tons of them, everyone was mad at the pay-to-win system. You literally buy guns from the black market and they're better than the stock ones, so you're literally paying to win, and 9 out of 10 times you're gonna get beaten by a gun who has a DLC weapon when you have a stock one. And people were losing faith in Call of Duty to make good games, and when they heard Treyarch was making Black Ops 4, everybody was excited. Black Ops 4 had so many expectations, had such big shoes to fill after, Black Ops 1, 2, and 3. Everybody was expecting so much from this game. And after people got their hands on it and realized how poor the game actually was, that's when they really started giving up hope on Call of Duty. I mean, nobody was playing after Black Ops 4, I'm being for real. Personally, I didn't think the game was that bad, but when people told me they hated it, they genuinely hated it, I understood. I really did. And the reason Black Ops 4 was so bad was because it was so rushed, to compete with Red Dead Redemption. Making a game, you need resources, money, and map power. Treyarch just didn't have that. Black Ops 4 wasn't even marketed properly. A lot of people didn't even know about any of the DLCs that came after. Played for a while, like a month or two, just forgot about it. DLC 1 was so disappointing, so bad. Ditched the original Call of Duty formula to try something new, and I can respect that. But there was no campaign. They ditched the campaign to try some Fortnite bullshit battle royale, and it just didn't work. Since there was no campaign, the multiplayer had no meaning. Don't even get me started on the zombies. That shit was so horrible. I understand I'm really shitting on Black Ops 4, but even with all of these negative things that I said about it, it still wasn't a horrible game. It was a pretty average Call of Duty game in my opinion. It wasn't Treyarch's fault. It was definitely all Activision's fault, because Treyarch had no time. Activision pushed them because they had to compete with Red Dead Redemption 2, and they didn't have time to be passionate about the project, and that's why we ended up with some half-ass game. Before Black Ops 4, people were on the fence whether they wanted to continue playing Call of Duty or not, but I think just really sealed the deal for some people who just gave up on their franchise altogether. And that's where Big Daddy Modern Warfare comes comparison. I don't think that is an understatement to say that Modern Warfare 2019 saved Call of Duty. It saved the series, and I'm being for real. Nobody's gonna disagree with me on this. I know that for a fact. In just 1 year, Modern Warfare 2019 is the best selling Call of Duty game of all time. That's 70 million copies sold. This isn't a Modern Warfare, analysis, but I just have to say, it was such a great game. I mean, come on. Infinity Ward really outdid themselves. It looked great. It felt good to shoot the guns. The campaign was amazing. They did a soft reboot of all the Modern Warfare games. So you had all these iconic characters. Price, Ghost, Gaz. With Modern Warfare, anybody who had any doubts about their franchise, they were silenced. They even did Battle Royale properly with Warzone and shit, So just everything about Modern Warfare was so amazing. And this really set the stage for Black Ops Cold War. Now, Cold War had no excuse to fail after Modern Warfare. Infinity War had made Activision a lot of cash, so they were feeling generous. So they put a good amount of resources to Cold War and the development of it. But again, Treyarch does kind of get a pass for some of the things that we're going to talk about soon because of the pandemic, because of COVID-19. Work schedules are different. Again, it's harder for people to get together and develop the game and market and that kind of stuff. So Treyarch does get a pass on a couple of things, but for the things that we're going to talk about, you guys are going to see. I'll get to that part when we get to it. Alright, so I'm going to give y'all a little bit of context about the game before I tell you guys what I liked about it and what I didn't like. The reason Cold War had so many expectations on it was because this takes place between Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2, so it's technically the successor to Black Ops 1. Its story ties in with the campaigns of Black Ops 1 and 2. All these fan favorite characters are back, Woods, Mason, Hudson. We even have some new ones this time with Adler, Bell, Park. And this was the first Call of Duty to, be on the new next-gen consoles. I'm talking the Xbox Series X and the PS5. So, Cold War had a lot of expectations on it as well. Not only was this important for fans, this was also important for Treyarch, because if Cold War didn't do well, I feel like Activision definitely would have kind of cut them off, because Activision is a publisher. They care about money. It's a business. So if the people they do business with don't make the money, why would they keep doing business with them? Simple as that. With all the things I just told you, did Cold War meet, our expectations? Did it do well? I think it did. Now, I know that you're not supposed to have an opinion anymore, but it's completely subjective. If you hated it and you thought Cold War was booty cheeks, I completely get that, and I respect your opinion, but I ask you to respect mine. At least hear me out before, you call me stupid. Alright, so I'm gonna go over the things that I really liked about the game, and then we're gonna go over the things that I didn't like. The first thing I really liked is the setting. It's set in the 80s, so in the midst of the Cold War, and you have everything from the 80s, so you have all these these retro things, and you have all the music from the 80s, and they just blend together to make the atmosphere of the game, just the feel of the game, really cool. I mean, never had Call of Duty setting like that, so to be in that time period with all those things, with all those retro things, I just thought it was really fucking cool. Other thing I really liked was how the story was kind of in the game. It wasn't just the campaign. If the story was tied into the multiplayer, even the zombies, everything was linked together in some type of way, and you could use characters from the story, Adler, Woods, Park, as operators in multiplayer, and I thought that was really cool. Obviously they were following it off Modern Warfare, but it's just a great addition. Campaign is pretty cool. It isn't like the best Call of Duty campaign we've ever had, obviously, but I thought it was pretty neat. You don't play as Woods or Mason this time. You get to play as your own character, Bell, and you get to work with Woods and Mason and Adler and all these other new characters to go on missions and progress through the story. All the missions have great soundtracks and badass action sequences, and everything is put together pretty well, I'd say. The voice acting is pretty good too. It's top notch. In general, the quality of everything just seems a lot higher than it was in Black Ops 4, and that makes sense because they actually have money to work with now. They have time. They probably have a lot more resources, and Black Ops Cold War was actually marketed pretty heavily, so I'm happy to see that they actually had the resources to put in and make a good game. But I could sit here all day and just talk about, oh my god, they did this right, they did this right, but nobody really cares about that. The gameplay is what matters the most. I'm gonna get to that right now. I see a lot of people comparing the Cold War multiplayer to the Modern Warfare one, and I get that, but I feel like that's kind of unwarranted at the same time. And that's because Modern Warfare 2019 feels so realistic and just real. A lot slower paced, you can't sprint forever. All the gun animations are done by hand. You can't reload when you're running. So just the overall speed of Modern Warfare is a lot less than Cold War. So yeah, I feel like Cold War definitely has a higher, APM actions per minute than Modern Warfare. And that's another reason why it doesn't feel as good, I guess you could say. It feels a lot more arcadey than Modern Warfare. And honestly, I think that's what they were kind of going for. Like, I don't think they wanted to make another Modern Warfare replicate. Gunplay is good in both games. It is better in Modern Warfare, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, obviously, all the reload animations and everything were done by hand in Modern Warfare, so just the quality of how everything looks and the gunplay is better in Modern Warfare, but it's good in Cold War too, don't get me wrong. Guns in Cold War are snappy, you know, they're fast, they feel good. Again, not as good as Modern Warfare, but you know, they're still good. And while we're on the subject of, you know, comparing the two games, I think it has to be said that Modern Warfare does look better, it runs better, but I feel like this is only because of COVID-19, because of the pandemic. The developers didn't have as much time to, you know, sit and polish the game as much. I'm not here sitting saying Cold War looks bad, because it doesn't. It's definitely the best looking Black Ops game, and there's no competition at all. Compared to Modern Warfare, it does fall a little bit short in lighting department, you know, in the facial animations, the reload animations. Modern Warfare just has a lot more polish, I guess you could say, but that's really it. I'm gonna sit here and compare gameplay, because like I said, they're two different games. They go for different things. I could make another video about, you know, comparing the gameplay between Modern Warfare and Cold War, and I might do that in the future, but as for now, I think that people really shouldn't be comparing the two as heavily as they are. You know, they're in different eras too. Cold War takes place in the 1980s, in the midst of the Cold War, and Modern Warfare takes, you know, present day. Multiplayer, in my opinion, was really good. Everything was fast paced. Modern Warfare has a big problem with people camping, and you don't see that as much in Cold War, so I can really appreciate that. Guns are satisfying, they feel good to shoot. There's a bunch of options for everybody, you know, whether you like running around with SMGs like a pussy, whether, you know, you're more into sniping and stuff. There's options for everybody, so, you know, just pick your class and roll with that shit. But yeah, and I completely forgot to mention, like, the return of these really iconic weapons from Black Ops 1, like the Galil and the Commando and the AK. They're named different names, obviously, because of copyright reasons or some bullshit like that, but it's the same gun. You got the 1911, the Python, just these really fun, iconic weapons, the FFAR, the FAMAS, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Just amazing guns, and they're back, and they're really fun to use. They're really snappy. I'd say most of the assault rifles are relatively balanced. Cold War also does have that problem, kind of like Modern Warfare, where the SMGs are a little bit fucking broken, but I feel like that's not really a problem with the game. Like, that can be adjusted with patches and stuff and nerfs. So as we get, you know, farther into Cold War's life cycle, they'll fix that shit, you know, they'll look into that kind of stuff. Personally, I'm more of a zombies guy, and I really have to say they really outdone themselves with zombies this year. I've been playing zombies ever since Black Ops 1, and this feels so fresh. Cold War Zombies feels so fresh. The gameplay is so good. The Wonder weapons are fun. The ray gun is actually fucking good now. Who would have thought, right? I'm really happy that they decided to move on from the Ether story, and we're now looking at the Dark Ether story, which is really interesting, you know? There's so much potential with this, and I'm really excited to see where they take this shit. I've been really enjoying Cold War. I'm really happy that they took out all these stupid ass microtransactions and shit for DLC. I'm really happy DLC this year is free. That's really fucking awesome. You don't have to pay to play with your friends. And another thing that I really like is crossplay. So it doesn't matter if you're on Xbox, PS5, PC, nobody cares. As long as you have the game, you can play. Yeah, and all these small things are steps in the right direction. I want to go buy another console just so I can play with my friend. That's bullshit. You can probably tell I am happy with Cold War so far, and I am. But there are a couple of glaring issues that I'm going to address right now too. First thing I want to talk about is the performance of the game. Now, I am happy to see that they're actively working on like patching, you know, glitches and bugs and other performance issues. And it's just for the PC that this happens, you know. Cold War is really well optimized for consoles. Like, it runs amazingly. It doesn't run bad on PC, don't get me wrong. I mean, if you have a good PC, it'll run well, but it can definitely be better optimized. I mean, if you look at Modern Warfare looks amazing, and it runs really well too, and Cold War looks good too, but in the performance department, as in how much FPS you're getting, it isn't the best right now. It's playable, like, don't get me wrong, you still get 70, 80 FPS if you have a decent computer, but, you know, it could be a lot better. But Treyarch gets a pass on this because of COVID-19. You know, developers can't sit together and work on that kind of shit because of messed up work schedules. The fact that they're actively working on, you know, trying to fix bugs and make performance better, that telling me that they actually care and that they're actually gonna look into it, which is really good. Another thing I really don't like is kind of the multiplayer. It's a gameplay feature, so again, this can be easily fixed with a patch, which I'm sure they're gonna do. It's the visibility and the spawns. Now, the spawns are really fucking cancerous, especially on maps like Nuketown. Like, they're really bad on maps like Nuketown, but the visibility is another big issue. I can barely see people, especially on Nuketown Holiday, like because, you know, it's at nighttime. I shit you not, I can't see shit. Especially if an enemy is like, you know, he has like a dark skin or something, forget about it. There's no way you're gonna be able to see him. He's just gonna sit in the shadows and fucking kill you from there. You're not even gonna see him. That happens to me so many times, and it is a little bit annoying, but at the same time, it can be easily solved with a patch, so it's not really an issue. I want to say, even the few complaints that I do have, they can easily be solved, and Treyarch is actively working on them, so there's no reason why I should be upset or think about, stop playing the game for some tiny, bullshit like that. Stability issues are also another important thing that should kind of address, but they're working on that as well, so it's not game breaking in my opinion. At the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is Cold War is a really good game. I'm really happy with Treyarch, did, even with everything going on in the world right now, I'm really happy with what they produced. Another thing that I really fuck with that I didn't mention before was, its integration with Modern Warfare. So now you have a combined rank for all Call of Duties, which is really fucking cool, I feel. So you can use Cold War operators in Warzone and stuff, and that's just really fucking awesome. So if one day you just don't feel like playing Cold War for some reason, you just hop on Modern Warfare and play that, and if you don't feel like playing Modern Warfare, you just hop back on Cold War, and vice versa. So just this ease of access for the player, I think that's a really good step in the right direction. And it's been kind of a long video. I'm trying to keep it short, but yeah, there's a lot to talk about, and I'm already kind of tired from talking this much, so I'm gonna just wrap it up by saying I really like the vibe of Cold War. I really like the gunplay and zombies and just everything that's going for it. I really fuck with it, and I feel like as long as you don't compare it to Modern Warfare too much, you can compare it in some areas like the graphics and stuff, but as long as you don't compare the gameplay too much, I think you can really enjoy Cold War. And if you don't, and if you prefer Modern Warfare, that's fine too. I understand Cold War isn't for everybody, and Modern Warfare isn't for everybody, and vice versa. But just the setting and the soundtracks and the characters, especially in Cold War, I really fuck with that. I really enjoy playing as Woods multiplayer and stuff. My final verdict for Cold War is an 8.5 out of 10, and that's kind of lowballing a little bit. And that's only because of the bugs and everything going on so far. And if it didn't have any bugs or anything, I'd honestly give it a 9.5, because the only weak link that I see so far is the campaign, and the campaign isn't even that bad. So in my opinion, Treyarch really outdone themselves this time, and I'm really happy with what they've given us. But that's kind of it for this video. If you enjoyed, thank you for sitting through. I know it was a long video, but I appreciate you listening to what I have to say. And alright, bye. I love you.